greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad I accumulated before the space got saturated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. Make the haters aggravated, get the spaceship activated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad.
What's goody, everybody? Welcome back to the channel where you get the crypto news, XRP to be exact. So Bitcoin's at $103,000 right now. XRP sitting at $2.42. I love to see it. Right. We all in the green right now, which is great. So I hope you guys been stacking your bags when you had the opportunity when it did dip for a little minute. XRP obviously is not at the price that we're trying to speculate it for it to be in the hundreds and $600, just like as other these other tokens are. But let's just jump into the news right now, just to get some updated of what's going on. It has been a lot of things that's been transpiring, guys, and also I'm going to be in Vegas on May the 30th. In Vegas, there's a big crypto Bitcoin event, so if you're there, listen, hey, it's going to be a movie for sure. It's going to be a movie. All right, so this is for the XRP community. It says break-in, Missouri removes capital gains tax on BTC, XRP stocks, and real estate, puts us the first U.S. state to do it. Listen, man, if this no capital gain tax on Bitcoin and XRP stocks, even real estate, this is a bombshell right here. This is a bombshell that could ripple across the U.S. economy and fast. House Bill 5904, the fast game changer. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Having no capital gains tax on these particular assets is that's a big move. It's a big move. And if they doing it and having success throughout that process, I'm praying that we can do it as well, right? All right, so breaking. Australians can now purchase XRP directly from ATM machines. So it's just so much stuff that's going out, that's as far as with not even just XRP but just crypto in general, that sometimes it's like we came so far, man. We came so far from where we started and now where we at, and the prices still hasn't, resembled, or our imagination hasn't gotten as fast as the news as so far. But hey, keep on pushing and keep on buying. All right, so let's get into David Schwartz. He is a CTO of Ripple. Breaking, it says Ripple is leading the tokenization revolution with over 55 trillion in U.S. assets. So let's listen to David Schwartz.
Transfer and ownership. If you've ever bought a house, you know that it's very complicated to determine who owns a house. There's a lot of paperwork involved with the sale, recording the sale. There's a risk of fraud in the delivery of the payment, and of course in being able to prove ownership of the asset. Tokenization can eliminate all those problems by using digital distributed ledgers to track the ownership of assets. That also simplifies things like if you want to borrow against an asset, use the asset for collateral, the person who's providing you the loan can more easily determine that you own the asset. And
all right, so I guess that was the video. That literally just went straight off. But all right, so let's move on. Okay, so something massive is happening behind the curtains. This is Ripple didn't just try to buy Circle. It's fired a $5 billion warning shot at the core of TradeFi. So Circle, they didn't say no, and they did not say no, not yet. So pretty much, hey, Ripple might acquire Circle. That is a $1 billion company. This is, hey, it's a lot of other coins other than XRP though, guys. You got HBAR, Bitcoin, you got Solana, you got XDC. So hey, diversify. All right, so I want you guys to listen into this. This is breaking. I don't want to butcher this man's name, but the CEO says that crypto is going mainstream and the European Union has significant advantages over the United States in this field. Europe is bullish on XRP. Listen up.
Among the traditional European exchange groups, we have the largest crypto business and digital assets business. So what's happening in crypto? Crypto is going mainstream, right? More and more people have digital assets, have cryptocurrencies, right? That's a secular trend. Also, more and more traditional institutional investors embrace crypto. More and more traditional financial institutions, also across Europe, and we are their infrastructure partner. So is the US ahead in terms of regulation when it comes to compared to Europe? I wouldn't say so. And it's interesting. It's a great question. It's interesting you're asking this question. In fact, Europe is ahead. We have a regulation. It's called MiCAR, right? It is now in effect, and it's not a bad regulation. And if you compare that with the regulatory fragmentation in the US, Europe even has a head start. Of course, now we need to make sure, with all this dynamic and political support in the US, that we do not fall behind again. Among the traditional European exchange groups, we have the largest.
Well, that will do it. That will do it, man. I just get so bullish every time I see it. If it's at $2.50, if it's at $1.50, if it's at 11 cents, if it's at 50 cents, if it's at $5, I think I will continue to buy for sure XRP until it hits my real mark of $10. So yeah, you guys stack as you please. You guys stack as you please. So XRP community, take note. It says Australia's top digital asset official has hinted that the XRP might someday support the Australian dollar. Meanwhile, the XRP ledger has already proven it can handle US transactions. All right, so I want you guys to take a listen to this.
This digital dollar that they're issuing and doing this pilot with, is it actually a dollar like I know it?
Yes. Yes.
So therefore it's worth 67 point blah blah US cents right now.
Precisely. You can think of it as exactly the dollar that you know today, but it's in a different form factor, a different technological format, which means that it can do things that the dollars we have today cannot do.
Okay, so what's the difference therefore between the digital currency that the Reserve Bank is rolling out and doing this pilot with, and with what I'm doing right now? Because I don't use cash. So therefore all of my transactions are digital. So surely our currency is already digital, is it not?
It is, but the exciting thing here is if it's on blockchain rails, it means that you can interact with the digital dollar and a digital asset using smart contracts. So computer code that says if this, then that. So imagine you can automate a whole lot of transactions that today you need an intermediary to be involved in.
So just give me a practical example of that. Would that be that I can transfer money directly to your account, immediately moving it there, because the blockchain would know each of us on either side of that transaction?
That's right. There's a shared ledger. So all it has to do is update and say that Ross has just paid Sophie. So it just updates a line in a shared ledger. It's very efficient.
So that means, say, for example, payments to business could be one of the big advantages of this, where, you know, we know how long it takes, in some cases, even government payments to go to small and medium-sized businesses. They could go immediately using these types of technologies.
They could go immediately if that's what you're looking for, or you could add conditions. So pay Ross, but pay him on Tuesday and only when a certain event has occurred.
Right, so that's okay. So then, given this pilot program is now rolling out, how long is it before businesses in Australia, before you and I can practically start to use this type of digital currency?
Well, I expect that the Reserve Bank will be careful and cautious. They will do a series of further experiments, and they'll want to know that they've got the design right. There's many ways that these things can be designed, and they need to get that right. So I think what's really important here is to do applied innovation to learn first and to get it right rather than to be first.
So who will be a part of this pilot program? Is it just the banks transacting with each other, or is there a broader audience that will be involved?
It's much broader than that. So it's not just banks. There's also some fintechs and different organisations which are putting forward use cases. And in addition to that, we are getting customers to test, because we want a broad segment of the community to give us feedback on what works and what can be improved.
Okay, but then we should note that this would be what's called a stable coin, isn't it? Because effectively it is a central bank digital currency, so therefore it is rock solid with the Aussie dollar.
That is correct. It is 1-for-1 with the Aussie dollar. It's just a new digital form of that. It's slightly different to a stable coin, but it is stable in value because it is backed by and an obligation of the Reserve Bank.
This digital dollar that they're issuing.
All right. Sorry. So moving on. Jack the Rippler says top global banking figures are discussing plans that could position XRP as the world's next reserve currency. Listen to this. This is with the current price of 93 cents and projected market cap of 20 billion. CTF could potentially climb as a $748. I'm thinking he's saying per XRP. XRPL demand increases, limited supply could drive a significant supply crunch. But I want you guys to listen to this 1 minute real quick. Pay attention to this.
I genuinely feel the biggest financial terrorist in the world is the US dollar. All our monies are in Nostro accounts, and somebody
I've been saying it
can say you cannot withdraw it from tomorrow morning, and you're stuck.
Yeah.
That is the power of the reserve currency. And I think we are at a very crucial time in the world history where the world is desperately looking for an alternative reserve currency. These changes happen once in hundreds of years.
The ability to have real-time liquidity is transformational. You know, the global pre-funded, what are called Nostra-Vostra relationships, it represents something on the order of magnitude $10 trillion. If we can make that more efficient and more useful, we can actually accelerate the engine of commerce kind of on a global basis.
I have been saying this on my channel for the longest time. What are you guys investing into, right? You guys can invest in all these different coins. That's great. I'm not deterring you from that. But XRP will always be the number one digital currency in my eyes, because you have to look and understand what is it being used for. Have you ever questioned the banking system, and why does money get moved around so slowly? As far as the country to country, business to business, why do we have to still do checks? Why money is not sent as fast as an email? Why do we get paid every 2 weeks versus every day? These are questions that always ran through my mind years ago. And this is the same type of questions that Ripple are answering. They're answering the questions that you have in your mind of why the world has been moved like this for years, right? And you have to understand what Ripple and, XRP is being utilized for. Ripple is a company. XRP is the coin. Please understand and know the difference. There is a difference. Before I get out of here, guys, this is the breaking. The Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund Index ETF, including XRP, is scheduled to launch on July 2nd of this year. Spot XRP ETF is incoming. So, Grayscale's Digital Large Cap Fund. It says that 200-day clock expires on July the 2nd. So make sure you get with it. All right, guys. So May 30th through the 31st, we're going to be all in Vegas. Hey, I want to see you guys there. Make sure if you're there, let me know. I'm going to be live streaming. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have, a couple of my crypto nerd friends. We're going to be there. So, hey, if you see us, holla at us. Woo! It's going to be a time. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel. I'm out. Peace.